welcome back to the second part of mostly laughter, some slaughter, the Eschaton. So, it is time to, well, okay. I was gonna say is time to actually launch into play, um, but there's a couple of details to, and we are done with character creation, but there's a couple of details to work out, and that is the common threat, which is I guess that it is technically that, in that the common threat not only affects you, but it affects Lorelei and Tycho. And so this is under play start in the handouts. And because it's just you, I would normally say choose between just the first two. But if you want to have the scenario be conflict between like the NPC factions, we could do that. But we'd be picking two personal scenarios regardless of which option you choose.
Gotcha. I'm going to say corporate power grab.
Okay. Cool. Okay. And then pick two personal scenarios, and I actually have definitions for them now.
Nice. I think I'm going to go with a hacker vendetta.
Okay.
Because we do mess with the mindscape quite a bit. Because that's kind of partially the way we communicate as well.
Sure.
And so kind of
well, it's the way
it.
everybody communicates, really.
Yeah.
Like in terms of at least over distances.
But literally, that's because of the way we talk. That's the only way we can communicate. And so we protect our part of the mindscape, like religiously, and probably pissed off a few hackers.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. I'm trying to come up with a name for the corporation that is muscling their way into the system. I'm just going to call them Uvision.
Mm-hmm.
Consolidated. Okay. And one more personal scenario.
I think I'm going to go with the post-human cult.
Okay.
And basically, you said that anybody can modify the way they look, right?
Sure.
So technically speaking, can a rock be turned into a human?
Absolutely.
All right, so these are the cult of the we call them the limbs cult, where they are obsessed with like appendages, or like arms, legs, what
Like,
have you.
so by obsessed by like having lots of appendages.
Yeah, like so they don't look normal. They like would rather have 3 arms or something like that. They don't if they want to convert to human. I guess we don't have no issue with that. But these guys are like uh, uh gotten weird with it. You know what I'm saying? They have 4 noses. You know, weird looking cultists.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And these are but they're of your people rather than just like on New Byzantium?
Mm, I think the
Or
cultists.
just uh, are they just like a subsect of people uh, on
I
your committee?
I think they're a cult in New Byzantium that's kind of infected our people.
Okay.
You know, since we've never had appendages before. You know, they're like, it's the new thing, man. Try this cool
Great.
thing called an arm. Can do all kinds of things with it, right?
Okay. Um, Let me see. I think I don't want to bog this down too much, but I would like to uh, pick a few details, not in a leader of New Vision Consolidated because they're like a faceless corporation, um, but definitely for the post-human cult and maybe for the hacker vendetta as well. Um, so let's see if you can uh, open up check head mail again under social moves. Um, I'll choose the first trait for not the leader of the cult and the person who's doing most of the FaceTime.
Yeah.
And obviously something, well, maybe not asymmetric. Maybe they place their limbs symmetrically. Who knows? Uh, but first off, I'm gonna go with I guess specifically defining this. I'm just gonna say addict. Uh, and and note to appendage additions.
Um. Gender asexual.
Okay. I'm gonna do the quirk end sentences with interrogative. Uh,
With what?
oh, they end each sentence with an interrogative inflection.
Ah, I see. Hmm. I'm gonna say they don't have any clothing.
Okay.
They're cutest as well, since they like appendages. You know,
Sure.
they're all natural.
Okay.
I don't know if that's crossing the line, but
No, that's fine. And anyway, I think deranged.
deranged. Yeah.
I think that's probably enough. Yeah. Okay. Let's do. Well. Led by. Unless you have a name that you would like to call them. Uh, I'm gonna go with Fart.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you say art, like as in art form?
Yes.
A-
Yes. Yes?
Nice.
Okay. So the hacker that you have pissed off, um, let me see. I'm gonna go with megalomaniac.
That was easy. Um, I think I'm gonna have a quirk.
Hmm?
Whenever they send messages, they use like over the top um, acronyms for
Oh
the word.
boy. Okay.
Like they always like if instead of saying like happy, they pick the like they were elated or something like that. You know, something ridiculous.
Oh, okay. So not a bunch of acronyms, but uses like three syllable words when a single syllable will do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a quirk or no?
Uh, it should be. I will add it because that's a good one. Uh,
What would you call that? Fancy talking?
um, I'm gonna call it that for now, at least.
Or pretend smart.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's like a more direct term for it, but yeah, uh, that's pretty cool. Um, and I'm gonna go with oh, let's go with an appearance trait. What the heck?
Hmm?
Um, I'm gonna just go with male.
Sounds good. They talk slow and down, I guess, would be the best way to describe them.
Slow and low.
No, like, oh my god, Brad.
Oh, I
Those
see. Okay.
lower people, like,
Oh, okay. So slow and condescending.
yeah, slow and condescending, yeah. I don't know how else to describe it. I consider being talked down to what I call it.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, if I have to instruct you as to how he speaks, well, I guess I shall.
Geez, Brad, reach quick.
uh, yeah, I think that's enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
we made a jerk that both of us could hate.
uh, and let's see. Need to give this guy a. Oh, okay. His name is Maximilios.
Nice.
Okay, so I believe as we are ready to go.
Sweet.
Finally, yes. Sorry. Yeah, I see. I like all the. Uh, I don't know what to cut. Like I like all the steps involved, but overall it takes too long.
No, it's
I mean,
if you play multiple games, you need to build this kind of infrastructure in order to continually play like a long game.
yeah, yeah.
This is not a game. This is not a one-shot game. This should not be a
It
one-shot.
just, yeah. I think it just doesn't lend itself to that, which is a shame because it would be nice to have for it to have like a one-shot mode, but it doesn't. And yeah.
Well, the only way to do like a one-shot mode is like have pre-generated characters and NPCs that are already made that they can select from.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, I think you're right with that. Just like maybe
And
I should just have a bunch of uh, a bunch of pre-gens on hand to do like in the book when if and when I publish it, so that it can be played as a one shot.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, like, and also encourage the DM to do one-shot, like, where you pre-generate a problem too as well. Like, I think the best way to do one-shot for this game is like have a problem that everyone's trying to solve, and that they're all working on their own agenda. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
you give them their personality, then you give them a global problem, like let's say, for example, a volcano is going to explode and destroy a majority of the planet. Okay, so this is your problem. Your agenda is this, your agenda is that, your agenda is this, right? And so everybody has their own agenda, and you have to work to see whose agenda manages to survive after saving the planet. If we don't fight amongst each other and not save the planet, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because the conflict with PCs, I think, would probably be the best way to do a one-shot.
Yeah. That works pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Or fairly close to well. I mean, the whole character generation takes too long to have it fit, but the actual play, the PvP, I think kind of sings in this game, because there isn't the threat of just like taking someone out entirely, but there is something to fight over that players are likely to care about, that their own organization.
Exactly. And pre-generated characters would have lots of fun in that, yeah. Or like a rule set for that PvP mode where it could be done quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah.
Okay, so you have a manor on New Byzantium. Is it like is it like a feudal castle, or is it more modern in appearance? Keeping in mind that, and I think that it could be modern in appearance, but most of the locals are using are stuck with pretty outdated technology. Maybe not full on medieval, but they since it is restricted information, they definitely don't have. It's definitely not full on post-singularity technology. It's probably like a weird mix of some medieval stuff, but there's like a few more modern things thrown in, like maybe dirigibles, and television. Yes.
Yeah, I think my house is pretty modest. If you were to walk into it, it looks like a house from the 1960s. It's got modest furnishings. Even though I generally don't use the furnishings, I usually sit next to the radio, which is basically my hookup to the Mindscape. I'm pretty close to that. So if I need to contact anybody.
Okay. Normally you'd have like a, just as an autark, you'd have like a built-in connection to the Mindscape. But if you specifically want it to have like a piece of tech, have it be like a piece of technology outside of yourself, we can go with that.
Well, no, I have a connection myself, but like I have like I don't know.
Oh, just like a unit that helps with hacking.
Yeah, basically, it's, for lack of a better term, it's my modem in a way. It's like, so I can go on the Mindscape and it's like protects me. in a way. My personal, because I'm paranoid about hackers and all this other stuff and the Mindscape itself.
Okay.
So it's like I use it, even though I have a Mindscape connection. I use my Mindscape connection to connect to it, and I use it to search for me.
I see. Okay.
Kind of like lack of a better term, another wall that they have to go through.
Oh, okay. And yeah, and you have Mindscape Firewall, so it's this thing that you use as the firewall?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it's like, yeah, I can connect directly to it, but who would connect their cell phone directly to their computer? What kind of moron would do that? One of those things.
Okay, cool. And it looks like a radio, like a old style ham radio.
Yeah,
Or...
it looks like an old school, like 1950s radio, like.
Cool.
Yeah. And I mess with the dials. Like I'll have like 3 or 4 dials, and I'll mess with it. Like, and it makes that squealing noise, even though not necessary. It's just there for whenever it looks.
Okay. So, in this opening scene where you're or actually, are you hanging out at your home, or are you somewhere else?
Wherever you want me to be, boss.
It's totally up to you.
Oh.
I mean, if you don't have any specific ideas, being home is fine. I can, totally work with that. But if there's somewhere else that you would like to be, that's fine too.
Yeah, I'm at home, just sitting there, getting ready to go out. Probably hanging out in the living room, talking with my family. Which is people from my same segment. So, rocks that came from my same location.
Okay.
So we've known each other longest. And they consider me Reggie. So my name is Reggie to them, but...
Reggie short for Regolith?
Reginald.
Okay.
Yeah. And, yeah. But our segment's is 60-40. That's our, pretty much like our group name.
Okay.
Thing. So, I'm hanging out with them, talking about, politics. I'm using the radio to try to get on the Mindscape, seeing what kind of stuff I can find out, just waiting for my next meeting with the committee members.
Okay. Well, so yeah, I think there's talking with your section. There's there's a couple of strands there. Some of them are concerned that Litho, who is another one, another part of the section has been silent lately, and they're worried that maybe Maximilios has something to do with that.
Oh.
Yeah, bastard. But there's also there's a bunch of messages that that haven't gone directly through, but are like showing on a meter on your firewall radio from other parts of the shoot, the union committee, the UWU, that show as fairly high priority, and there's also a formal invitation from Lorelei for dinner.
Nice. Well, I'll accept the invitation. I'll accept the invitation for dinner from Lorelei. And what is these meetings regarding from union regarding?
Okay. So you scan a couple of them, and the gist is that they're some of the oh wait.
You want me to roll?
No, not yet. Yeah, okay. So the gist of them is that they're concerned that the goalposts keep getting goalposts to citizenship on Tyconia keep getting moved back.
All right.
And it's somewhat subtle. Like it's the excuses for it are like, well, you didn't fill out Form 1191, and that that wasn't submitted in triplicate, and you didn't CC the Minister of Alternate Affairs, but you have a pretty clear picture of how that society works, and that sounds spurious to you, or it is probably spurious.
All right. I sent emails back to them, thanking them to bring this to my attention. And the next committee meeting, I will put it on the forefront. I'll add it onto my docket and send an email to whoever's in charge of the meeting to put it under new news or new business or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, Robert's Rules of Order or whatever. However, whatever protocol I have to follow to make sure it's added so that we can address it to the committee.
okay.
I would like to can I roll so I'm thinking that's like act under directs, I would say, or no, or yeah. So I'm going to manufacturer concept.
Well, what is it that you're just what is it that you want to roll? You were trying to just to put this on the agenda, or to make sure that there is a new meeting soon, or was there something else that you what is it that you were looking to accomplish?
Force to put this on the agenda, and make sure that. So basically, I want to not be buried.
Okay.
So it doesn't get. Basically, I want it to go through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is there something I need to roll for that, or does it just happen?
I think just to yeah, just to put it on the agenda and discuss it, you don't need to make a roll. Like you have discretion to do that.
Okay. Sweet. And I get ready for my dinner date.
Okay. Let me see. Well, yeah, that doesn't take long since you're, it's not like you need to change into new clothes or anything.
I go over to the rock buffer.
Nice. Let me see. So while you're prepping for the dinner, is there anything else that you'd like to put into play, or we could just make sure that we could go ahead and if you wanted your rocky body to be like harder to damage than like regular flesh, we could do a convenient acquisition to sort of define that, like to add that body tag, an appropriate body tag. Or do you not really care about that, which is fine?
You're like, yeah, of course I want it to be easy to blow up. Yeah, I mean, I'm as hard as the substance that I'm made of, so I don't like to be like, oh yeah, I'm made of like plutonium deluxe, or whatever. I'm just probably like quartz, like I could easily be like smashed. But whether or not you actually kill me, I don't care. No, I probably there's ways of destroying me.
All right. We don't have to worry about it.
I would like to, like, before I head out, I go to that brooding child or brooding member of my segment that everyone's concerned about, and so I would like to give him an ultimatum, like, say, either shape up or ship out type of thing,
Oh, well, I believe it was that there was worry that Lithos had been out of contact. And that there was worry that they had been that it may have something to do with the hacker Maximilios.
So we haven't, like, we lost contact with him completely?
Yep.
Okay. So I would like to find him. Scan? Right? Would that be? For him?
Yeah.
Search the mindscape?
It may. Yeah, I think it's actually search the mindscape.
There you
go. Alrighty. So the information move. Okay, you got a 9. So if you open up under information moves, if you open up search the mindscape, uh, there's a list of questions. Uh, uh, Pick one, and I will answer it honestly.
Oh.
I mean, it could be, where can I find lithos?
Yeah. Where can I find them? Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, you dig around in the mindscape, and find that the last place he was uh, his physical location at the last point that he was heard from was actually in this system, but it was way out on the on one of the moons surrounding the farthest planet.
Okay.
So somewhere there, if you're looking at the map.
I don't know if you have me on the right map because I always.
Oh, you're right. I don't think I do.
Or I see a couple of pictures. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, okay. So yeah, same system layout, except that there's new names there's new Byzantium and Tychonia, and let me change my color so it's a lot more visible. He was there.
All right.
I guess the reason why people are concerned that it might have something to do with that hacker is that the last thing he said was sort of cut off, and it broke up into like sort of essentially static, which is something that essentially never happens on the Mindscape.
Right. Well, I'll let everybody else know what I found out.
Okay.
And see if I can find more information. But I have a date. So I gotta. As soon as I'm done, I will get back to looking for them.
Okay. So let me see. I think that let me just well, let me look over my moves and principles.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So, I think at once you're ready to leave, and as you're like on the way, uh, you get a another message which is very high priority, that is picked up by your firewall radio. Uh, uh, Saying I have recently become aware that that you have intruded into matters that do not fully concern you regarding a a relation I have at my disposal. If you wish to once again look upon their the glance oh sorry, let me back up slightly. If you wish to uh, fine, I'll just go ahead. Look upon those geologic features once again. You will need to yield up a boon to myself of my own choosing.
Sure.
But the message doesn't say what the boon is, so you'd have to like contact them back. And I think before you enter, and the scene then shifts to sort of a like a sort of a Disney castle. Like, have you ever seen the I forgot the name of it, that castle in Germany. That totally. Oh, Neuenstein. Uh,
Hmm.
Hold on, I'll. I'll look for you. Oh, whoops! Actually, you can sort of see it on the stream right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I see.
but I'm gonna put a link to it also.
I like it pretty.
Um, so the scene cuts to a castle that looks like that. Um, and it goes. It keeps on moving in towards a window at one near the top, not one of the towers, but near the top of the main structure, uh, and within is a uh, a woman with very youthful features in regal dress, uh, lots of uh, uh, royal purple uh, and elaborate elaborate needlework. Um, and she's kind of an expression like this. Um, and her expression, and from that like pensive expression, it like uh, darkens, uh, and there's a like just sort of a sense of a contact being broken. Uh, and again, this is before you actually arrive, but this is just sort of like background. Uh, uh, she says, "That will not do, Tycho. That will not do at all."
I hear her say that, or what?
That actually happens before you arrive, but but uh, it's something I wanted you as a player to know.
Gotcha.
Okay. So you arrive at Lorelei's castle, and the like the guards at the gate recognize you, and like know that you're they like clearly know that you're not supposed to be interfered with, and you're to be treated cordially. But there's like there's like a bit of a supernatural terror at seeing you. And their like eyes widen. You can see white all around their irises, but they do like they're all uh, Lord Reggie, please, this way. They usher you in, and you're brought to.
Oh, did you not expect me? What's going on?
Uh, no, my lord, you are you are very much expected, and right on time. There's no problem at all. Welcome, welcome.
I do not take people lying to me very lightly, sir. But feel free to take me further.
Of course, my lord. So yeah, you're taken to a large chamber within the castle, and there's one of these there's quite a long table set up with set up with plates and utensils and all that, um, and but nobody's sitting at it yet. But the room has a fair amount of people, all humanoid, milling about. Um, uh, and there's sort of a circle of people around Lorelei. Um, and as you enter, uh, like half a dozen different conversations suddenly go quiet, uh, and uh, room is made so that Lorelei can address you, and she says, "Welcome, Lord Reggie.
Hmm.
It is an honor to have you attend. I hope that the accommodations will be adequate."
Of course, Lorelei. Our friendship is, and our friendship means a lot to me. And hope you know that I am always here to help you if you need an extra hand.
Excellent. Thank you. Yes, that is very appropriate. I think that things have been left by the wayside and not formalized for far too long. I have an obligation to you to make sure that those you care for and your dements within my realm is protected. Similarly, as my vassal within this realm, you owe me fealty, yes?
Of course, I stand by my treaties and make sure whatever that is needed, I will give you with no regard. It is our way.
Excellent, excellent. I'm very glad that we understand each other.
Excellent. So tell me what it is that you need done.
Well, as you may know, there have been some tensions with Citizen Tycho, both historically and presently. And I was hoping that while there are several fronts I am concerned with, that you could help ensure that his vassals are, let's say, not under a greater obligation than the bonds of society require.
That should not be a problem whatsoever. Actually, that'd probably be a great way to fix some things with us. I think it would be better if we break them off into red herring, basically create power holes for them to play around with. Are you familiar with the term red herring?
Yes,
My
what paths do you have in mind in terms of leading him?
to prevent him with interfering with what we really need to get done, we give him jobs or give him responsibilities that have no power. You understand? So, like, yeah. Or that have no purpose or end goal. For example, making them work on a shuttle project that we're not even gonna, that we may implement or may not implement. Something that is not going to affect us government-wise. Basically giving them busy work to do. But nothing that is actually something that we need done. Fake work, basically.
I see. Yes, I think that there is an opportunity along exactly those lines. Thank you, Lord Reggie.
I think the best thing to do, and this is when I'll explain to her how I'm going to assert political, I guess, would it be resist outside influence or assert political pressure? I think I'm asserting political pressure.
That certainly sounds like a certain political pressure.
Alright.
Okay. Okay. Well, so you will succeed, but before you do, let's.
Okay. Sorry, I jumped the gun.
Oh, no worries. So you want to assert that pressure. You want to. Do you want to get some other people on the committee to like sort of dicker with him? Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the most straightforward approach. But if you have other ideas,
yeah, I'm just messing with them.
Okay, and in doing that, there's like a procedure to go through, and we'll take it step by step.
Right. Sorry.
But I just wanted like a general idea of what you're doing, so to like help guide that procedure. Nice guy. So does that sound good, or are you thinking of an alternate approach?
Nope. Sounds good to me.
Okay. So So the first thing to do is that you would need to uh, convince some other this is outside of a meeting, but convince some other people uh, on the committee that this sort of interference is something that they should engage in. Um, and there's a number of different ways to go about that. Uh, let's see. First off, uh, oh, that's that over here. Okay. Okay. So, all right. Uh, so yeah. Okay. You could sidestep this whole process and just use power broker. Um, but it sounds like you want to. But for asserting political pressure, what we would do is first off, you do uh, engage in one of the two. Either we do a quick thing like via Mindscape, uh, where you would attempt to convince some of the committee members that it's in their best interest to do so, like manufacture consent, uh, or you could tell them do this or else.
Um, manufacture consent. I think that's probably what I want to do.
Okay.
I'm not going to be a jerk about it.
Yeah, yeah. If you, anytime you can do manufacture consent rather than give an ultimatum, it's probably better.
Yeah, and also I'm basically like, and I'm going to play to their. We have a treaty. We have to protect our allies on this New Byzantium. They've been nothing but nice to us. Just sit there and the bull. Okay.
So yeah, uh, yeah, I think that's reasonable. Um,
Says I need some leverage.
yeah,
or
but so yeah, their response is that uh, essentially, well, yes, I'm sure they've been good. New Byzantium has been good to you. That's where you live, of course. Of course. Uh, but we have other local concerns. Now, if you wanted to, uh, if you wanted to, owe us a favor, well, that's a different matter. Or you can find some other leverage, but they'd be willing to just do it for a favor.
Okay, so I'm a favor.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. You gotta take some, give some.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the favor they don't ask for isn't something I can't do.
Yeah.
I make sure that I cannot undermine the Byzantine. That like, hopefully, you understand the favor cannot be something that's going to disrupt our relationship here in New Byzantine.
Oh, of course. It will be commensurate with what is being asked, and that is and it's not they don't have to go really far out of their way to do so. So yeah, not a problem. So next, we need to we need to define this subgroup a bit. They're essentially a unit under your command.
Mm-hmm.
So you have plenty of rep to acquire them. That's not a problem. You don't have to make a roll for that. But we should choose some traits for them.
So I need to check it.
Yeah, essentially they are propagandists.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, technically, that is the that is the term that is used for the unit that asserts political pressure.
So what do I need to?
Okay, so if you go to the handout, the top one called units.
I see player start, surplus need.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oops. Oh, there it is. Okay, it was hiding every time I opened it. Okay. You should be able to see it now.
I got it. Units. Okay.
Okay.
So check.
Pick a near the top. Pick a unit trait.
Wait, I thought you already did that. Didn't you pick that already, or no?
No. You get to pick first.
Oh.
Yeah, it's under the bold where it says unit traits. There's just a list of them. Well, okay. So just given that they're asking for a favor in return, may mean that they're acquisitive,
Mm-hmm.
or possibly individualistic.
Mm-hmm.
Or lazy.
Yeah, I think acquisitive probably works.
Okay. And I'm gonna add on that they're they're a bit green. Like they haven't been on the committee very long. Yes. They're not used to all the ins and outs. And
It's fine.
And we should come up with a name for them, which could be as it could be very straightforward, like UWU subcommittee on Tychonian affairs, or subcommittee on um, I don't know. Could be this solar system, rights, something like that. We haven't actually named the solar system, which probably a good idea too. While you think about the name for your subcommittee, I'll come up with something for the system. Just call it Beetlejuice. I don't know. I have no idea whether or not the actual Beetlejuice has one son, or has any likelihood whatsoever of being able to support habitable planets. But yeah.
It's just a big red giant.
Beetlejuice is?
I believe so. It's just a red giant. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it has any planets. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll think of another one.
It's okay. They could have planets in the future. After it's supernovas.
Hmm.
UWU.
Okay, how about
Service.
Alpha Crucis? We'll go with that instead.
Sure.
And Alpha Crucis may be like a white dwarf or something, but it's it's more obscure, so I care even less.
All right.
Or I'm less worried about it anyway.
Yeah.
So UWU. Subcommittee on Alpha Crucis Worker Affairs.
Yeah. Worker Affairs Committee.
Okay. All right.
That's classified as a red supergiant.
Oh well. Oh well.
Yeah, it would engulf Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars within its circumference.
Mm.
If it was if it was where our sun is right now, that's what it would cover.
Mm-hmm.
That's how big it is. Yeah. It's probably going to explode and go supernovas with this. Anyway, sorry.
All right, so you totally succeeded in asserting that political pressure, which means you get to choose one of either starting or advancing a two clock that results in adding or removing an organizational descriptor. You could start or advance a 4 o'clock that causes the whole organization to schism, or you could cause them to make a specific temporary policy change.
Hmm. Do I get any idea what she wants from me? That she just wants it out. She just wants them out of her hair.
Uh, well, uh, it's she hasn't really spelled it out. Like other than she wants with other than her saying that she wants you to uh, to mess with them and or specifically make sure that uh, like their autarchs aren't under like undue obligation, like people were complaining about earlier. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, she didn't really say. Uh, I mean, you've interacted with her enough to know that uh, she did used to be she did used to be close, like friends with Tycho, and isn't anymore. Um, and this probably doesn't this probably doesn't have anything to do with like uh, fair play or actual concern for the people working for Tycho.
Ah, she's maybe just being a little paranoid.
Maybe.
Well, I have a duty to protect her, so whether or not she's paranoid or not, that's not my problem.
Yeah.
Uh,
You think if she was like under attack in a way that you'd be like obligated to take action, you would know it, and this is not that. Like you, it may be good politics to do what she's asking, um, but you're not under you're not under obligation to do so. But it may cause trouble. So yeah, I mean, going ahead and digging into this, I think, is probably worth. Uh, well, okay, there hasn't been a backlash yet, uh, but this may be worth an experience point.
I will advance a 4 o'clock that results in the target NPC organization going into schism.
Okay. Um, okay. Yeah. If you're doing that, and oh, are you taking particular care to make sure that it can't be traced to you?
I wasn't.
Or is it just like, well, you can interpret it how you want, but uh,
Well,
this is
so
happening, or
when it's okay, Now, when she asked me to do this, from my, do I feel like it was a favor that she didn't want to be mixed up in it, or that she was asking me? Because if I'm doing it politically for her, then I'm going to mention her name. But if she did not say that she wanted me to specifically say her name, then I won't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
But
she she may have assumed that you would keep her name out of it, but she didn't say.
ah, you know what assumptions are, right? Uh, hmm. um, if it gets pushed, so what do I have to roll to hide my tracks then?
uh,
How would I
well,
redirect?
okay. So, you probably would have to make a roll at some point in the future, like as you advanced the clock. Um, but uh, if but for now you wouldn't have to make a roll. It's more of a matter of if you're not taking any steps to hide it, to hide it from the outset, then you would take experience right now rather than probably having it occur down the line. Um,
See, wait a minute. What's my hold on.
and there'd probably be like a pretty immediate reaction.
Uh, and there was something that I took that results in this. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm going to play it off in true critical style. That um, the bureaucratic, because of the bureaucratic paperwork that the Tyconians had befallen us regarding autarchs and getting the golden ticket, and I'm gonna like in beautiful like PowerPoint presentation like point out what they've been doing and stuff like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, like, hey, complaints have been made. We're just following procedure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm like,
Okay.
this is the result of what's happening, and and I'm going to pretend that I discussed it with the committee and this was their decision, even though I did it on my own.
Okay. Cool. Alrighty. Uh. So. Uh. I think that. Uh. Oh yeah. Yeah. Totally. So. You go ahead and have the dinner itself, and uh, as you're as you're leaving, um, you see someone else enter from a door that from a different door through than the one through which you both entered and are now leaving. And they immediately catch your eye because while possibly all most humanoids kind of look the same to you, possibly not. Uh, this one has an extra set of arms coming out of their pectorals, and open and blinking third eye. And they're wearing sort of like a long skirt, and something about the way it flows is weird. Like there's I mean, you're not super familiar with how the interaction of clothes and human anatomy works. It's a little bit outside of your
Yep.
like day-to-day experience.
Yeah.
But there's definitely something weird going on under that skirt.
I just she
And,
knows my feelings on the cult and probably
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
So,
and that person, like like the last thing you see is that they walk up and whisper into Lorelei's ear.
I just give him a dirty look
Okay.
and just float on.
And I think I think that sort of after the close of the scene, there's a short pit that's like essentially again out of character knowledge, but it's another it's another dinner party. Only this one is very different in that all the furnishings have like this sort of simplified futuristic look, and everything is sort of the most of the and like the table and the walls are this like spotless white with a with the both walls and ceiling having just this very mild glow, cumulative individually, but cumulative is enough to light the room in a very sort of a creature friendly fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And you see Tycho in sort of a if you've ever seen Fifth Element, sort of a remember the was he wearing a business suit? Maybe not. You see Tycho in a sort of a it's a business suit, but it's made out of like video cloth, so that it shows various images on it, and it's sort the image is like this like a soft, slightly sort of subtly and slowly shifting fractal pattern. Um, and he is, or they, sorry, maybe he today uh, is talking to um, a oh yeah, uh, talking to a being that looks like sort of a uh, sort of like a deep sea anglerfish, um, but with prehensile fins. That's in a sort of a uh, the going from aquatic to land-based uh, version of a like an encounter suit.
Mm-hmm.
And Tycho says, "Why, thank you for your kind offer. I am certain that as the uh, 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 as the relationship between uh, U-Vision Consolidated and Tyconia grows, it shall greatly maximize the profit potential of both entities."
Nice.
So, uh, where would you like the next scene to occur? You can set it.
I would like
Uh,
to be in like in a control room, like a like um and we're basically trying to hack the hacker and see if we could find our last friend
all right.
at his location. But um yeah, I would like to. Basically, we're trying to retrieve him. We don't negotiate with terrorists.
All right.
So I pretty much send like a not a return message to him per se, but like a message on the web from our organization, the UWU, saying that this organization never has or never will negotiate with terrorists, and we stand behind that as our promise and pledge to you that terrorism will never win.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you're hacking at the same time. It is does like the message itself have some like hidden sectors to try and dig into his system, uh, or is it two separate things? You're like I'm warning you, and then doing something completely separate.
The message is basically my answer to him about the ultimatum, and then because I'm one of those people that play above board, I'm going to give you your answer right away, and then I'm going to come after you. So yeah, I'm going to try and use my ability to basically find out where he's at and try to bring him back. if he's being held against his will.
Okay.
If not, you know, he's a free.
Okay, so rather than hacking, are you just like going to like uh, hire some mercenaries to physically uh, uh, recapture your friend?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Um,
Long-term projects, a direct conflict.
so this would be well, okay. So first off, uh, I well, okay. Uh, so you agreed specifically to like hiring mercenaries, and I think it makes sense that the committee probably doesn't have um, like a military arm built in. So I think that it would be someone external to the organization.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so I think the move here first to hire them is check head mail. Uh, so that uses uh, that uses fortune. Uh, your and that
My fortune's a 0 right now.
okay. Should actually be higher than that. Your okay. So your rep is listed as 5, but I think that the with the modifiers from your uh, uh, organization puts it up to 8.
Let me take a look.
Pretty sure.
Because I have, you mean the surplus or the organization descriptors?
The organization descriptors. And let me see. So I also want to. So yeah, let's look over those real quick just to make sure that.
Yeah, I got a +2 to organization level and -1 to ruler and manufacturer. Consistent targeting your population. I don't know. That's what it said.
Okay. Yeah. Let's. I'm sorry. Let's go through that step by step just to make sure. Okay. So. +2 to scan. And there's actually a -1 to manufacture consent. That essentially I forgot about. Yeah, I should have checked over these things during character creation because it's definitely like a you know that it's generally going to be too much to have to deal with during you know like mid play. Okay, next constitutional is bonus to resist outside influence. I mean, we're close to the end, so it,
Mm-hmm. Well, it says other decisions because I'm a constitutional direct democracy.
yeah. Okay, so +1 to resist outside influence. I've got a thing about restructuring. I won't worry about that. And then direct bureaucracy is already included for that. Oof.
It's +1 rep.
Yeah. Actually, that manufacturer consent that you did before actually would have been a very difficult roll if we'd done this correctly. And then finally, open society.
But your control over it is limited, greatly requiring manufacturer consent to get organization act. Yeah. That's my bad.
Oh, no worries. It was mine too. Okay, and that resist outside influence cancels out.
We did roll manufacturer consent.
We did do one, yeah.
Okay. Alright, so what is it, a 6?
Okay.
What is it?
So, your modified rep is actually 8, which is huge. And I believe that that means you have a +1 fortune. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, go ahead and
roll. Fortune?
Yeah, no. Go ahead and roll check head mail.
Check head mail. I got 9.
All right.
10 plus 2 on a 9, 7, 8, or 9. Choose one. They have expert rather than average professional knowledge on this relevant subject.
Okay. So they're experts at extraction?
Yeah.
Okay. And since this is hiring a whole mercenary organization, rather than going through the I think let's let's just choose a trait each, and then we'll do a descriptor each as well.
Okay. On the head mail?
Yeah, so first off, a head mail trait.
Trait?
Yeah, for the the leader or the contact person.
Cruel.
Cruel. Okay. Let me go ahead and spell that correctly. Okay. And I'm gonna say cruel yet blasé.
Got it.
Okay. So rather than going through and picking a bunch more, let's just go with those two for your contact. But I also want to pick a couple of unit traits for the unit overall.
Okay. So, do we pick one or don't know?
Yeah, you get to pick first.
Uh, creative.
Okay. And I think they have an esprit de corps. Um, and I think that these mercenaries are called. Like, if you have a name that you want to call them, well, I'll go with it. Uh, but if you don't, I think I'm just going to call them. Uh, the oh, I'll just use a real world name because it's really cool. Executive outcomes.
Good. Nice.
And their leader Hadrian is both cruel and blasé. Okay, cool.
Sounds good to me.
Uh, yeah, you get a hold of him. Um, and he says, "Hello. The ident says that you're Reggie. What can I do for you?"
Uh, yeah, I need to recover one of my family members, and I give him the name. He's last seen, and these are the sector coordinates and the information that we have on the person that might have taken him. And we just would like him to be brought back to us, safe and sound.
I see. Well, that he like sort of looks up for a moment, and you can tell that he's like checking, like searching through the mindscape to get information on those coordinates. Um, says, interesting little encampment there. Clearly, uh, created by someone who doesn't have too much of a mind for military matters. Um, however, uh, I, I'm sure that you contacted me because you know that executive outcomes is the leader in extraction work, um, and uh, to get the best uh, requires compensation that is, similarly top tier.
All right. Name your price.
Uh, says, I The boys and I have been uh, upgrading uh, some already state-of-the-art mecha again to make sure that we uh, maintain our edge. So, what uh, there's a certain piece of equipment uh, that has been a little bit tricky to get a hold of. Um, we just need a couple tons of unobtainium. Not a big problem for someone like you, I'm sure. Uh, and essentially, it would be uh, let's call it 8. Uh, Something a rep cost of 8, uh, which is uh, a little bit outrageous for just hiring a merc force. Like uh, they're usually not cheap, but uh, that's a lot. It's within you can probably swing it, um, but you could try him. You have options. You can try and talk him down, or just uh, try and just pay for it, or something else. I don't know.
I would like to try to talk him down a little bit. If I feel it's a lot of money that like he may be like trying to squeeze me a little bit, so I'm gonna be like negotiate. Um, and um, how about I can? What do I have to roll to like maybe get the paperwork to move faster, so it doesn't cost me as much? For the did he tell me the item that he's looking for?
Uh, yeah, it's just like essentially raw material of a metal that is not easily producible through like your standard cornucopia machine. It like uh, it takes like it's difficult to accumulate and requires like working with a singularity forge to and a bunch of like tricky technical manipulations to form the stuff.
Would it be cheaper to be? But what is he using the material for? A weapon?
Yeah, for he wants to coat his uh, his giant robots in it. Mecha.
Really?
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, so
I was trying to find a way to maybe get the if he was asking for weapons, maybe I can allocate them for cheaper. Well, is there a way I can find someone that's selling it for cheaper than what he's asking for, or like how much? Is there?
uh, let's see. Uh,
Or if he has mechas,
yeah,
what?
I mean, you could try and uh, I mean, you could just try and convince him that it's in his best interest to take like a slightly lesser payment that's still quite good. Um, I think that to
How much would another mech cost? Would it be less or more?
I think probably more.
Really?
Let me look that up. So I do have.
Well, anyways, I'm just trying to find out if I can find a way to get it for cheaper.
Okay. Yeah, another mech would actually be slightly more. It'd be 9 rep rather than 8.
Really? Is there any way I can get the mech for cheaper? Hey man, I'm trying my best here. Whichever one's
Okay.
easy.
Yeah, I think that other than just like rolling convenient acquisition, well, okay, you could yeah, if you took your time with this to acquire it, you could afford it no problem. But things would progress while you did so.
So there's no way for me to make it lower.
I mean, you can just roll to buy it. Like you can that's one of your options as well. I mean, it's not outside of your but by no means even like buying the saying, "Oh, I'll do you one better. I'll just buy you a new mech." That is not necessarily outside your means. Like there might be a like some sort of downside, but you could do it almost certainly.
But it would like hurt my assets.
But it's a roll. Like.
But it's a roll that I need to make.
Yeah, I mean the community acquisition is a roll either way. But if you took your time, then you'd be at enough of an advantage on the roll that you wouldn't have to make it. You'd just get it. But then I'd like make a move.
I have to roll a 10 plus.
No. 7 to 9 would. Okay, so.
What the hell? I'll
okay, so if you wanted to, one up and give him and buy him a mech rather than just the materials, then you'd be at like -1 to the roll, so you'd need like at least an 8. But if you just bought the materials, which would be good enough, a 7 would be good enough. I mean, you can.
Less
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I mean, like I thought there was a way I could maybe talk someone into, maybe doing a favor or something else. But okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you wanted, you could. I think like talking to someone else to try and work around it would be a whole other scene. So things would progress. I'd get to make a move anyway. So yeah, like on a 7, you'd have to on a 7 on convenient acquisition. You could just like temporarily reduce your rep and fortune twice, and that way there'd be no problems with the material. He wouldn't be pissed off about it, and if you had to make other rep or fortune rolls, then they'd be in a penalty. But we're at the end of the session.
Told me that he was trying to. So there's no way to Jew him down then. I don't understand.
Yeah. You could instead try and manufacture consent. Like you could, if you could find a rationale wherein it'd be, it's in his best interest to take this reduced, take a reduced payment, then that could work as well.
All right, I'll manufacture consent.
All right. So don't roll it yet.
On
because,
the guy.
Okay. And the reason I say don't roll it yet is that right now I have marked on a sheet as a -3, but that's only for moves on your own faction. This is somebody else, so okay. Now go ahead and roll because I like temporarily. Actually, before you roll, still, you need to what are you saying to convince him? It has to be. All right. It has to be like reasonably within his interests to.
All right, I'll tell him that if he does it now, and he waits after he. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm giving him a promise to give him a mech later on, which you said I could do. But as long as he does it now. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So instead of giving him the medal, I can say, I can give you this mech if you do it now, but you have to wait for the mech.
Okay.
But these are I'm giving him all these credentials that I'm good on the payment and blah, blah, blah. Then show him my accounts, all this stuff. Whatever I need to do.
Yeah. Like, he probably wouldn't have talked to you in the first place if he didn't think you were good for it. But, yeah, so that's definitely good enough to trigger manufacturer consent. Sure. Go ahead and roll it. Okay. So he his reply is like, yeah, we can work something out along those lines. Tell you what, I've got a contract for exactly that sort of thing. Just sign on the dotted line, and essentially the nature of the contract is that you'd be in if the very next thing you did wasn't getting him the mech afterwards, then you'd be in violation, and
all right, that's fine.
Yeah, bad things could happen, but yeah, he's cool with it. So yeah, you have hired a expert mercenary force. That dickering took a while, but that's okay. And now. It is
probably a good time to call it.
Well, as like a final thing, let's do a let's do oh, it's not a use force, it's direct conflict. Yeah. So you're just looking to, your objective in sending them in hiring them in the first place is just to get Lithos back.
Yep.
That is, I think, much less significant uh, than having him no longer being able to effectively oppose you. I think a single hit is probably good enough. So yeah, just go ahead and roll direct conflict.
You want me to roll it?
Yes, roll it.
Oh.
Nice.
Almost max.
Okay. Uh, so these guys uh, sweep in with their the mechs they already have like nobody's business. Like it's uh, uh, they have like a distraction going on that's part of like a pincer move, uh, while another force like sneaks in and grabs him, and then just as they realize that Lithos has been grabbed, the fireworks go off and it's just devastating. Um, and probably and I think that Maximilios was on the scene, and he gets like not just killed but vaporized. He'll be able to re-sleeve, uh, but that whole exchange, it did not go well for him, not a bit.
uh,
So cool. Thank you for indulging me on this. I
I appreciate it, man. I really enjoyed Eschaton. Like I said, there's little kinks here and there, but
yeah, and yeah, I mean, both it's in progress and it was sort of in a little bit of an intermediate state. But yeah. Please tell me your impressions of the kinks.
I think what bogged down a little bit about the unit stuff is making them right off the fly every single time. Like having a list of units that you can roll off of, like maybe a percentage dice, or like was it a 66? Like some weird roll that they do. Want to just do the sixes, where they can select the union type, and it's off a list of their quirks and stuff. If the DM wants to make a random, or he just makes, including a bunch of NPC units. That way they can go, okay, you can hire XYZ, and which is the point of, this is a game that has to be fleshed out before you play it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So for quicker play, I think these like NPC things are already pre-built for basically the units. That way you can go XYZ unit, and you can rename it. You can have like 4 or 5 different names for it, or whatever, and you can just toss it in there. And you can say, okay, that unit's in this solar system, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And that way when they play a one-shot game or a game that, right off the cuff, they can just roll whatever and be right, boom, have the unit ready.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
But yeah. So like, put like the for fun, like the you know how they have the abilities, roll them in percentage, like d6s. You know, like how you played Dark Heresy before.
I haven't. I'm familiar with the setting through playing just the tabletop miniature 40k.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I've never played the role playing game of it before.
yeah, every time you roll something, there's like a percentage dice thing that tells you like, okay, so you're gonna start in a hive world, roll percentage dice. This is the class you're gonna play, roll percentage dice. Blah 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 blah, and it just goes down that list. So you could do the same thing with like, for example, like head mail. Instead of us sitting there picking which one it is, you have them set up on a percentage dice. So you have nasal, high pitched, low pitched, gender. You know, there's 6 of them there. Just to have a roll 1d6, roll d6, bam. It's asexual, humanoid, eyes, this, clothing, bam, bam, bam. And then like traits. And you can roll randomly for the traits as well, so they could be smartass, dishonest. Because no one's going to pick dishonest, right? I'm not going to pick dishonest, right?
Oh, so, but I might.
Yeah. Making it a random roll like that makes it easier for that stuff to show up. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So you could be like both absent-minded and childish, you know? Or whatever. You could have a really bad group. Who knows? That way, and just have like a little bit of just like a d6 or a percentage dice roll, or however many, like pick however many stats you have, traits you have, and just put a number next to them. Like this is 1, this is 2, so on and so forth, right? Just like that.
Okay.
And that way, if you want to do it quickly, you just roll. Hey, roll d10. Okay, he's meddlesome and loquacious. Boom, we're done. You know, that way it's quick and easy. And also, like before you complete the game, obviously you want to have probably a few examples so they see what it is.
Yeah. So
that if a DM who is running off the cuff can just throw it in there. Say, this is the mercenary group you get in touch with. So, alright.
Okay, yeah.
It's my 2 cents.
Yeah, it might be a good idea to, I think, to have some, I mean, I don't think I'd want to do, like, rolling each trait off of a table every time you did it, but having the option of just
rolling,
of having like essentially completed NPCs or units that you can that when you need to do it quickly you can roll. Yeah, I mean I did yeah, I mean, I'd want to have the option of making it quicker because I know that it does bog things down.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, have the option there. Say this is like a random table. Like, if you look at the Warhammer, it says this is a random table. You don't have to use the table. You know, if you don't want to. It's there. Or if you're like, if you don't want to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just for people, like, who don't give it.
Yeah.
What the heck it is, you know, they just randomly roll, you know?
They just want their unit to do the thing. Do the thing!
Exactly.
Anything else that was
that was
clunky or needs attention or anything of the sort?
Just the making NPCs and the mercenaries or whatever, that needs to be, there needs to be an option for quickness.
Okay.
So that, for me personally, I like that, like being able to crank them out like everybody's business, and I'm sure other players would like it too. So having a random roll table, because I like random roll tables, I really do. Percentage dice tables are my jam.
Ah, okay.
Anyways, that's my 2 cents.
Okay, cool. So, would you like to tell the internet what you're up to and where they can find you?
Yeah, I just updated. Go to wizardarna.com. We just did a campaign today. I put the first episode up, first 40 minutes, so make sure you watch it. Pretty fun. They were in the dungeon. Watched them almost TPK. So
That does sound like fun.
yeah, it does. But you'll see right off the bat where I made mistakes. But
yeah, but that sounds like the sort of mistake that is fun to watch.
Yeah. Anyways, it's all you.
Okay. So you can, if you want to yell at me on Twitter, that's at rpglory.dotcom. If you would like to watch archives of, and they're fairly extensive, of previous role-playing game streams I've done. That's at youtube.com/c/RPGlory. And if you would like to hang out with me live, that is, you can do that either at twitch.tv/RPGlory, or what's the other one? That one I don't remember offhand. And,
Okay.
Oh yeah. Or mixer.com/RPGlory. So thanks again, everybody. Have a good one. Oh! I should also mention that I'll be back on Thursday to maybe, possibly, hopefully start the Blades in the Wild Blue Yonder game. We've been close to doing that for a couple of weeks, and then stuff will come up. So one way or the other, I'll be here on Thursday at, God's help me, 9 a.m. Pacific, doing something. But hopefully it'll be blades with skyships and sorcery and cool stuff.
Fun.
And then on Saturday at 4 p.m., I'll continue to hack this game. And on Sunday at 4 p.m., we will do another role-playing game. I forgot, were we gonna continue doing Stormgiant Shotgun, or was it up in the air, or?
I believe it's Stormgiant Shotgun, but
Okay.
I wasn't sure.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, the gang, the mostly laughter, some slaughter gang will probably all be here, and we will play a role-playing game, and it'll be fun and hopefully hilarious, and I hope to see you there. So once again, bye.
Bye.